Right then, people, we're back inside the building. How are we doing this morning? Welcome back to Breakfast with Kovu here on Trickstar Radio. It's fantastic to be back inside the building as we jump into the first of today's guests. I'm so excited to get into this interview. We're talking to a legend this morning, someone who, for me, was one of the real kind of carvers of the sort of dungeon style of dubstep sound, and one of the people who was so consistent when I was still buying vinyl. That's how the sort of age we're talking about here, and someone who's been consistent throughout that entire time period. LX1 joins us this morning. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's great to get you on the phone. This is one I've been really looking forward to.
Thank you very much for having me.
Each and every, bro. So just to kind of do a little bit of background and kind of catch people up to where you are. Obviously, you're someone who's been involved with sort of dubstep music and 140 music and a lot of different other genres as well for a long period of time. Like, how have the last couple of years been for yourself, obviously with dubstep being on this somewhat of a resurgence?
It's been good. Yeah, everything's been good. Just trying to keep as busy as possible. Making music, I started up my label in the last 2 years as well, so that's probably the latest thing that I've been doing and concentrating on.
Okay, interesting. So, like, what was the thing that really pushed you to start the label project then?
I suppose more control, really. Just not having to speak with anyone about decisions. I can just sort of, if anyone's being long, then it's just down to myself then, rather than having to wait on label or label managers or anything like that. And also a couple of friends of mine in the music scene kind of pushing me towards that goal as well. Jay Kenzo was definitely someone who said that, you know, I should be looking to do that and people would be interested. I think I was always very apprehensive about doing it, but then I think I got a little bit of confidence from a few people and I thought, yeah, let's just go for it.
Yeah, wicked, man. Well, it's really cool to hear. And obviously, over that sort of time period, the last couple of years, I'd say, there really has been a kind of, I don't want to say resurgence because the sound has always been there, but there's been a more of a kind of public eye again on the sort of dubstep sound and the sort of evolution of that sound. Like, with that, how have you found almost kind of staying up to date with what's happening?
Well, the last couple of years, last 2-3 years, I think there's only I don't know how many new artists have come in that time period, but I think there was a lot of people who were pushing dubstep 140. I'd say UK sound of it. Yeah. You know, more minimal sound of it, and people experimenting more and bringing other dance musics in to the sound itself. And I think it's been really exciting over the last 2-3 years. In terms of keeping up with it, I think I've always looked forward and never tried to be stagnant in what I'm doing. So even if I make something and I think it sounds a little bit old or a little bit dated, it just goes on the scrap heap and go again, really. You know, I think as a producer or as an artist, you've always got to be looking forward and trying to push yourself, make music that you haven't made before. I think getting in your comfort zone is probably the worst thing you can do.
No, I completely agree, and I think especially with a sound that is as traditionally as experimental as the sort of 140 dubstep sound, it's an area that takes in influence from so many different genres, and that's always been a big part of the sound. Like for yourself, kind of looking back a little bit to the sort of earlier sort of days before, I suppose, the Americanization of the sort of genre. Did you kind of? I think that's a good way to put it, but to kind of
Americanization.
I don't even know if it's actually a word, but I'm coining it here right now on the show.
I'm not sure it is.
But yeah, kind of with that, did you kind of what was kind of happening with your sort of style whilst that was all going on then? Because I remember there being such a shift towards, I want to say, noise within that sort of dubstep sound, and you've always been
noise.
Yeah, I feel
you say that.
I feel you've always been someone who's been a lot more sort of precise with the sort of sounds you're making, and a lot more sort of I don't want to say, I feel delicate's the wrong word, but I feel precise and delicate, if that's the right sort of angle, with the sort of sounds you're using and the sort of production values you're putting onto things. Like, what was happening for yourself during that period?
I think just trying to be, I think when I started making dubstep, or it was very early on in my production days as a producer. I was making a little bit of drum and bass before then, but nothing got released or anything. Shout out Trex on that one. I was making bits with him, and I think just trying to be the best I can be, and try and always concentrate on my sound and trying to get it better, or more innovative, or fresher. I couldn't tell you one of those tunes, I don't know that music. I don't know that side of dubstep at all.
Of course.
I know a few producers, their names, but I can't tell you I've sat there or stood there and listened to an hour or 2 hours of their music, because I haven't. And it just never interested me. So I think being around people that were on the same mindset as yourself, and there's a lot of people, not just myself, just ignoring that side and just cracking on with what we're doing.
Yeah, entirely.
I think it almost didn't even sound like the same genre, but it is the same genre.
Yeah, of course. It's almost like, I was going to say, it's almost like the angry cousin.
About the scene. Yeah, the angry cousin. But I think that, with any genre of music, you can't expect to like it all,
Of course.
And I think that's what's kind of great about it as well, the fact that there's stuff I don't like.
Entirely.
Or there's stuff that maybe I wouldn't play, but I do like. And I think that's what makes a genre up. And dubstep is so new still,
Entirely.
I think it's still really brand new. And that's why I think it's so exciting that all these new artists having their take on it. And I think, it does give you a little push to make sure that you're keeping fresh and you're keeping, I don't like to use the word up to date, because I'm not following anything to be up to date, but just, I suppose, not sound like I'm stuck in a time zone, and try and make as fresh a music as I can, really, with still keeping to my sound, if I have one.
Definitely. No, there's definitely a pronounced kind of LX1 sound, and that's definitely something that I've loved over the years as a fan. It's one of the reasons I was so excited to get you on the show this morning. I'm pretty sure I've got a couple of your bits of wax literally still in the cases at home, which I might break them out this evening just to reminisce. But kind of moving forward, then we're going to get into a track next. Now, this one, I know you're very, very keen on this one. This is your remix of Island. So talk to me about this tune before we jump into it this morning.
Well, I've known Anime for quite a while. Met her in a club somewhere, I'm sure, or maybe she even reached out, and I think we might have spoke about working together before this project happened. And I was at Sim's album launch in some hotel in Shoreditch somewhere, and we had a chat, and she asked me if I would be up for it. And I like remixing. I like when people ask me to remix, because they feel that I might be able to give something different to what they've given, and then I can do my own take on it, and I can, sort of follow a bit how they've done it, or I can go a completely opposite direction. And she asked me to do it, and I was very excited to be asked, and it took me a while to figure out what my take was on it, but I feel like I produced it how I would have made the song rather than remixing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does. And I think it's actually an approach that I feel it's actually quite a popular approach that people don't even realise they're doing a lot of the time. They kind of take elements and rework them into something that is more in their kind of image and in their sort of mold, I'd say, which is a really cool way of doing it. Well, we're gonna get into this one in just a second. Really excited to jump into it. It's just gone 12 minutes past 9 here. We are live on Trickstar Radio. This is Breakfast with Kovu. Before we get into this, though, what are the best social media tags for people to get hold of you on?
LX1, that's ONE_, that's my Instagram, and my Twitter is LX_1, that's ONE as well. I hate the fact that I have to spell out the number one. I don't know why I do it, but
It's the way, bro. It's entirely the way. Well,
people can get at me on Facebook, but I don't really check for it too much.
Yeah, that's fair.
But obviously, from time to time, I'll check it, and if anyone messages me on there, I try and get back to everyone. Well, I do get back to everyone, as long as it isn't some spam asking me to advertise something.
Wicked. Well, we're going to get to this one now. This one, the LX1 remix of Island from Anime. Keep it locked. We're live on Trickstar Radio. Don't go anywhere.
This is Breakfast with KXVU, bringing you their morning flavours on Trickstar Radio.
Trickstar Radio.